Hey guys, it's Venom coming at you another video. Today we're going to be talking about a Necromancer build for the Infinite Archive. This was requested by one of my subscribers. Alright guys, so this is a status build, which is really the best way you want to try to run your build for Infinite Archive, and it is contingent upon you getting the Focused Efforts vision. It will appear underneath the offensive buff, the one on the left. So whenever you're selecting your visions, try to focus mostly on the one on the left, and you should be able to get your focused efforts to drop. Basically, I will go in and I will run one or two arcs, and if I haven't gotten it by then, I'll just reset and come back in until I do get focused efforts. Otherwise, you could be in there for a very long time, and the RNG is it may not drop. I've seen it do it. So again, just do like one or two arcs and try to get it. And again, this build is set up to be a status build, and that focused efforts can stack up to 5 times. Each stack it increases the damage by 500%. That's a 2,500% damage increase to your status effect damage, which can get really ridiculous. That's the best way you want to run your build for Infinite Archive. So you want to take a look first at our champion tree. For the blue tree, we have Force of Nature. This is going to increase your offensive penetration by 660 for every status effect the target has, and they're going to have a lot of status effects. Deadly Aim is going to increase your damage done with single target attacks by a total of 6%. Thermiters is going to increase your damage done with damage over time effects by a total of 6%. Wrathful Strikes is going to grant 205 weapon and spell damage. This is what I run in the early parts of Infinite Archive. I do swap these out later on when you get up into the higher realms, and I will swap out all 4 of these. And I like to run Ironclad. This is going to reduce your damage taken by direct damage attacks by a total of 6%. Enduring Resolve reduces your damage taken by damage over time attacks by a total of 6%. Duelist Rebuff is going to reduce your damage taken by single target attacks by a total of 6%. And Unassailable is going to reduce your damage taken by area of effect attacks by a total of 6%. For the red tree, we have Strategic Reserve that's going to grant 30 health recovery for every 10 ultimate you have. Slippery is going to break you free whenever you get disabled. This can occur once every 21 seconds. Fortified grants 1731 armor. Balanced Vitality gives 1400 health. I do have setups for 1 and 2 bar builds for this, and I do swap them out depending on what I need while in Infinite Archive. Well, let's take a look first at these skills here. We have Remote Total. This is going to summon an effigy of bone for 11 seconds that grants minor protection to you and your allies, reducing damage taken by 5%. Enemies in the area are afflicted with major cowardice, reducing their weapon and spell damage by 430. After 2 seconds, the totem begins fearing nearby enemies every 2 seconds, causing them to cower in place for 4 seconds. Elemental Susceptibility. This is going to allow you to put your status effects on targets. It puts Major Breach for 30 seconds, reducing their physical and spell resistances by 5,948. The status effects can occur once every 7.5 seconds, or just whenever you reactivate the skill. So you can run Elemental Susceptibility as a spammable just by simply recasting it. And it is a free cast skill. The next skill is a craftable spell. This is called Magical Trample. You pierce the air with a shrill whistle, calling forth your mount to trample enemies in a line. This ability cannot be reactivated while your mount is already attacking. I have this set up to deal magic damage to all of the enemies. Enemies are afflicted with concussion, sundered, and hemorrhaging status effects. And I also have it set up to put minor vulnerability for 20 seconds, increasing their damage taken by another 5%. Next is Spirit Guardian. It's going to conjure a ghostly spirit to do your bidding and stay by your side for 16 seconds. The spirit heals you or the lowest health ally around you every 2 seconds, restoring 2,313 health. While active, 10% of the damage you take is transferred to the spirit instead. Next is another craftable spell. This is Healing Burst. you will unleash a powerful burst of soul magic around you. It heals you and your allies for 8,404 health. It also have it set up to where it will heal you for 5,775 health over 10 seconds, and it will grant minor resolve for 20 seconds, increasing physical and spell resistances by 2,974. Now, I do have mine set up with minor resolve because I sometimes do run different variations of this build, but if you want to, flip it around, if you're just running it specifically in a certain way, only a 1-bar build, for example, and you have your skills set up a certain way, then you could obviously swap this around. But I do run mine with different variations, so I did put minor resolve on it. Pestilent Colossus is your ultimate. It's going to unleash a Pestilent Flesh Colossus to pulverize enemies in an area. Colossus smashes the ground 3 times, dealing 11,000, 12,000, and another 12,000 disease damage with the first, second, and third smash. Dealing damage applies the disease status effect and major vulnerability to enemy hit for 12 seconds, increasing their damage taken by 10%. I do run another ultimate when I'm in Infinite Archive. This is the Ravenous Goliath. And you want to make sure that when you are picking up your transformations to become like a werewolf or a necromancer or whatever, this ultimate, the Ravenous Goliath, will not transform you if you're already transformed. So I run the Ravenous Goliath in the later rounds of Infinite Archive when it becomes more challenging. So say, for example, there's a mystic that came in and he's dropped the meteor and it's halfway in a wall around a corner, and you're like, oh, where's the meteor? Oh gosh, and you're trying to hurry and find it and kill it. Or, it's preferable just to kill the mystic instead. But you can pop into this in a pinch and you can probably survive most about anything. I mean, you're going to get another 30,000 health and all that. You can get through most stuff that would normally kill your guy just by popping into this ultimate. But what I'm saying is, make sure that if you are transformed, that you swap this ultimate out, the Ravenous Goliath, because you won't be able to use it while you're being transformed. Okay? So make sure that you grab all of your passives that you can. Underneath the Destruction Staff, if you noticed, I do not have Tri-Focus slotted. I do run an Eye Staff in the later rounds when it becomes harder. I'm running a Lightning Staff currently, but later on I will swap over to my Eye Staff. So while an Eye Staff is equipped, blocking costs Magicka instead of Stamina. That can get you into a lot of trouble if you're trying to heal your guy and you have no Magicka because you blocked and it's disappeared. Now if you're running a 2-bar setup and you run an Eye Staff on your back bar, Lightning Staff on the front bar, and you can swap between the two, that works fine. You can run Tri-Focus and it won't be an issue. But if you're running on a 1-bar setup, then I would recommend taking Tri-Focus out. So if you notice down here, equipping an Ice Staff reduces the cost of blocking by 36% and increases the amount of damage you can block by 20%. So I do swap that out depending on how I'm running my guy. So make sure that you grab your passes. We got 1-piece light on this build. The rest is all heavy, so medium's not needed. Make sure you grab your heavy passives. Grab your Undotted if you can. I am a high elf on this build, so whichever race you have, just grab your passives there as well. Let's take a look at our character sheet. This is unbuffed, not in Archive. These values will go up once you get into Archive and you start collecting stuff. This is going to go up quite a bit. So we're looking at over 22,000 max Magicka, over 42,000 health, over 18,000 stamina, penetration 6402, spell and physical resistances is at the cap. They're over 33,000. Health recovery is 3,157. Your mag and stam recovery is 647 and 591. We have all 64 points in your attributes underneath health. We are running the Lady Mundus Stone. It's going to increase your physical and spell resistances by 3,240. I'm running Bewitched Sugar Skulls. This is going to increase your max health, max stamina, max Magicka, and health recovery. We have a lot of major and minor buffs. Alright, let's take a look at our gear sets. The first set is Flame Blossom. This drops in Bloodroot Forge. I have a lightning staff, and again, what I was saying a moment ago, I do run an ice staff as well. Both are in sharpened trait, poison damage enchantments. The 2-piece gives max magicka, 3-piece weapon spell damage, 4-piece pin. The 5-piece, when you deal damage, you summon a line of flame that moves forward after 1 second, dealing flame damage to any enemy in its path and applying a guaranteed burning status effect. This can occur once every 10 seconds, scaling off the higher of your weapon and spell damage. So I would recommend having 2 of these. I would recommend a lightning staff and a ice staff. So whenever you get your focused efforts buffs later on, and you're going to be doing a lot of block casting using elemental susceptibility and your other skills, your ice staff is going to be better to use for blocking, because it's going to reduce the block cost and the amount of damage you can block while you're weaving your skills, or I should say, while you're block casting. Alright, the head is a 1-piece Mighty Chudon. This adds 1487 armor. It's heavy trait, reinforced, max health glyph. The other set is Serpent's Disdain. It's also reinforced, max health. The 2-piece gives max stamina, 3-piece max health, 4-piece max magicka. The 5-piece increase the duration of status effects you apply by 16 seconds. The shoulder is Serpent's Disdain, Divines, max health. The waist is your only light piece, Flame Blossom, Divines, max magicka. The hands, legs, and feet are Serpent's Disdain, reinforced, max health glyphs. Flame Blossom for the necklace, weapon and spell damage glyph, protective trait, same for the other ring. And then there's Oaken Soul, bloodthirsty trait, weapon and spell damage glyph. While equipped, you're able to swap between your primary and backup weapon sets. You gain minor berserk, minor courage, major brutality, major sorcery, major prophecy, major savagery, minor force, minor protection, major resolve, minor mending, minor fortitude, minor intellect, minor endurance, minor heroism, minor slayer, minor aegis, and empower. So I do swap this out sometimes if I'm running a 2-bar build. And if you wanted to do that, the other mythic I would recommend is Ring of the Pale Order. I have this also, bloodthirsty trait, weapon and spell damage glyph. You restore 20% of the damage you deal as health. This value is decreased by 4% per ally you're grouped with. Cannot be healed by anyone but yourself, your pets, or your companions. Alright, so let's take a look at this magical trample. It has a very long range, and anything that it hits in its path is going to apply those status effects. And then your Flame Blossom is going to go right behind it and apply burning to it as well. So check this out. So now you have all of that just off the touch of one button, and it lasts for 16 seconds. Elemental susceptibility, get your poison going as well from your glyph on your staff. And this works very, very well in Infinite Archive. Alright guys, as you can see, I've had a blast playing on the Necro. I'm going to go over and try out some of these other classes. If you guys, want to see any builds for those other classes and stuff, just drop me a message there in the comments and I'll try to get you a build put together. Again, thank you all for watching, and I'll try to get back to y'all with another video. Have a good one.